Hi, this is Chris from the Orange Coast College Art Department with a quick overview of how to choose colors and the color picker in Adobe Photoshop for digital painters and illustrators. Now, you may just be starting up Photoshop and trying to figure out how to paint and thinking, how do I even choose a color? And so I want to introduce you to a couple quick concepts. The first is at the bottom of the toolbar down here. There's what we call the color picker. And the thing that's tricky about Photoshop that you may be unfamiliar with is that we see two swatches. One is the foreground color, and the other in the lower right is the background color. So Photoshop works with a foreground and background color. Almost all the time, you'll be just painting with the foreground color. There are some brushes that will blend foreground color and background color, and every once in a while you may erase on a locked layer in which when you erase it'll put the background color in. So that may throw you off when that happens, and just so you know, that's how you do it. So how do you choose a color? Well, you can click right here and up comes the color picker, and you can change the hue, choose a saturation and brightness value anywhere in here. So you just click and say, I like that color, hit OK, and paint away. So that's really common. What else is a way to pick color? Another is to, if you've got the color palette open, you can just leave this open, change a color in there, and paint away. Another thing that you might do is if you've got a color palette that you want to keep returning to, you can save colors as swatches, and then you can just pick it from some saved swatches. So I pick a color and paint away. But however, the most common thing you will probably do is use the eyedropper. And so if I click in the toolbar, I can click the eyedropper and select a color, and it'll put it in my foreground color, and then I'll go to the brush tool and paint away. However, you might be thinking that's kind of a lot of steps. Is there any shortcuts? When you're in the brush tool, you can hold down the option key and you'll get the eyedropper for as long as you hold the option key down. So I can hold the option key down, then click where I want to sample some color and paint away. That's what you're probably going to do most often. You'll be in the brush tool, you'll hold option temporarily, choose a color from within your image, and that'll go to your foreground color, and you'll start painting with that. That'll be your typical scenario. Now, sometimes you might run into the situation where the eyedropper is not doing what you think it should be doing. You're sampling like this, and it's not changing the foreground color. It's changing the background color. So what happened? In the color palette, you probably accidentally clicked on the background color square. So watch, I'll click on the foreground color square, and there's a little bevel. It's really hard to notice around the foreground color. And watch, I'll click on the background, and that bevel changes. What that means is that the eyedropper will sample into the background when it's selected or the foreground when it's selected. My suggestion is always leave the foreground selected, and if you're having trouble using the eyedropper to get what you're hoping to get and it's selecting the background, it's because the background is selected on this panel. It throws me off maybe once a year, and I have to look up how to change it, and it's kind of a pain, but it's usually just that simple mistake. So hopefully that helps you choose a color and get going in Photoshop making great art. Good luck.